If you click this button, then you are like the thousands of others who feel the same way, that life is too uphill too much of the time. You're too busy to take care of yourself and do the things that you want to do. There are always 100 more things on your to-do list than hours in the day. This is how I feel every day. Here's a picture of 4 of our 9 kids playing with their million Legos. The biggest change in my ability to enjoy my life and feel more in control is something that I learned from Brad. He isn't a counselor, a spiritual leader, or even very good at making dinner once in a while to give me a break. In just a minute, I will tell you what he knows that helped me and hundreds of his patients face the craziness of our lives with enthusiasm and energy. If you were sitting in a professional counselor's office with me a few years ago, you would have also burst into tears when he drew a picture like this. The counselor explained that every single person has negative stressors happen every day. A tax bill comes in the mail that you weren't expecting, the dog pukes on the rug, your boss gives you an unpleasant assignment, relationship problems, your car breaks down, the price of gas goes up, on and on. Every line here represents some negative experience that pushes you down into the funnel. Once you're down into the funnel, you can't see a way out, and everything is coming down on top of you. It's hard to react positively to the next stressor that comes along, and it seems that you can never dig your way back to the top of the funnel. The secret has to do with what the counselor said next. See these lines? These are things that happen or that we create that are positive deposits in our life. If we are experiencing enough positive things, they keep the negative stressors in balance, and we can stay up here at the top of the funnel where we can still see the sun, feel the breezes going by, and see the great things in our life as the blessings that they are. The stressful things in our life seem smaller in comparison, and we can manage them. The key to getting out of the funnel was clear to me. I had to experience positive things in my life in about the same proportion as the challenges that came my way. This was hard for me to do until Brad gave me the motivation. Once I understood how negative stress impacts my body, my feelings of well-being, the strength of my ability to fight off disease and infection, even cancer, my energy level, how fast I age, and how well I heal from all physical stress, I definitely was on board. What makes Brad an expert on stress? Besides being the father of 2,900 kids and having a dog that pees on the rug, he is actually an expert in healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle could be defined as doing those things that keep us in balance at the top of the funnel. He does have some professional credentials as well. He's a board-certified doctor of chiropractic, and he's a speaker that has taught classes for over 12 years to thousands of people on many health topics. But let me have him tell you all about it.
The truth is, I can't tell you how to eliminate stress in your life, but I can tell you the secret to keeping ahead of it and creating health and happiness with the challenges you've got in your own life. I'm not going to give you powerful prescription drugs along with all their side effects, or self-help advice, give psychological profiles, or give you any type of label at all. You are a wonderful human being with all of the physical, mental, emotional potential and abilities you need to experience peace and enjoy your life, even with the challenges you have. What I am going to tell you will not only help you stay at the top of the funnel and give you motivation to enjoy your life despite the stress that comes your way, it could add years to your life and slow down your aging process, prevent disease, and make you better at sports. I throw that last one in for the guys, but it is true. After I share this information, I'm going to give you some specific things you can do right now, wherever you are, that will start to make a positive change in your stress level and how you feel physically and emotionally. In order for you to understand how you can get back in control of your stress, it's important for you to understand a little bit about Swiss watches. Now, if you were to open up the back of a Swiss watch, you would see dozens of little gears, big gears, little arms and levers and big arms and levers. Now, as you look at that watch, what do you think would happen if just one of those little gears got jammed? Would it affect some of the other gears or all of the other gears? Does it make sense that it won't be long before the whole watch stops working? In other words, it's not just a gear problem. It's an overall health of the whole watch problem. If you stop and think about it, isn't this exactly how most people in our society view their health? Just thinking about the gears? I know it was for me until I learned these vital, life-giving principles that I'll be sharing with you in a few moments. Now, I'm not going to charge you anything for this information either. I just really want you to know that you can truly control your stress and your health. So, here's what happened to me. Back to the watch. When I was a little kid, just 3 years old. I was put in the hospital because I had difficulty breathing. I was diagnosed with asthma. I remember being in bed with a plastic tent around me. I was frustrated because I couldn't see the TV through the plastic. This began the next 30 years of my life being dependent on medication. Now, the medication was given me by very knowledgeable doctors. I want to be clear here. They didn't do anything wrong. The problem was that they were only treating one of my gears. Worse yet, they weren't even treating the right gear. Later on, my gear problem created another related gear problem. I developed chronic allergies, hay fever, and eczema. I also got numerous ear infections as a kid and developed some food allergies as well. Chances are you may even know a child that is being treated for things like this, just like I was. About 21 years after that first hospitalization and diagnosis, I met a doctor that helped me understand how the gears in my body really worked. You see, each one of us has one really big, vitally important gear that if it jams up, it will affect the way every other gear in the body works. And most doctors totally ignore this gear. After I explain to you what I mean, I'm sure you'll be just like me and the thousands of other people right here in our town that finally have that aha moment. The gear that I'm talking about is our nerve system. But I need to explain how this gear, our nerve system, relates with the Swiss watch and with the stress funnel that my lovely wife talked about. In order to fully understand this, we need to break it down to the level of the individual cell. You see, when a particular cell is in a stressed state, it changes what it normally does. This is called adaptation. Now, if the stressor is short-lived, then the cell goes back to functioning normally. If the stressor lasts a long time, then the cell is forced to be in a long-term adaptive state. Long-term adaptive states are not good. We call this a sickness or a disease. But let's look at this a little closer. Let's say a group of your cells are blissfully enjoying a happy, non-stressful day in happy cell land. Apparently, Dad's cells were not in happy cell land. They were out taking risks in living on the edge land. They were already in a mildly stressed state. Then, boom! That same big stressor upsets the environment surrounding the cells in living on the edge land. And now, Dad is sick along with the kids. So, the question is, how do we get our cells to never be in that mildly stressed state of living on the edge land? Doesn't it make sense that we want to keep ourselves in happy cell land? This can only take place if our cells are quick to adapt. In other words, adaptability is key for us to enjoy health, happiness, and longevity. Do you want to know how to increase your adaptability? Of course you would. But first, let me ask you this. If you had to rank the organs and systems in your body, which one do you think is the most important? When I ask this question, most people tell me that it is the heart. Quite frankly, I agree that the heart is one of the most important organs in our body. In fact, every year, almost 750,000 people die because their heart stops working. Okay, how about your pancreas? It also is pretty important. Every year, about 60,000 people die because their pancreas malfunctions. We could go on and on, naming the organs and systems in the body that are vital to our health. In fact, God put them all there for a reason. They are all individual gears in the amazing Swiss watch and are all vital to our health, our happiness, our longevity. However, there is one system that is known as the master control system. In other words, it controls and coordinates either directly or indirectly every other system in the body. This master control system is your nerve system. So, the health of your nerve system, either directly or indirectly, affects the health of every other system in the body. If you have stress to your nerve system, it interferes with the communication to the cells that nerve goes to. Now, just to be fair, I want to be clear that if there is stress to the individual cells that are attached to the end of the nerves, this is communicated back to the brain and then delivered back down the spinal cord to other cells in the body, calling them to action to help the adaptability of other related cells. But for simplicity, I want to focus on stress to the nerve system. How does the nerve system become stressed? So, how does the nerve system become stressed? In order to understand this, I want to go over some simple anatomy. Let's use the example of an itch. Let's say on your leg. There's an impulse that is sent from your leg up to your brain, letting your brain know that you have an itch. That impulse travels through your nerves and your spinal cord, and interpretation quickly happens in your brain, and you begin to contract specific muscles in your arm and your hand and proceed to scratch. Now the itch is relieved, and again, impulse travel back down the spinal cord from the brain saying, okay, we're done. You can stop scratching, and then your arm and hand return to their previous activity. Now, this is a very simplistic way to describe the function of your nerve system, but hopefully you will get the picture that virtually everything that happens in your body takes place because of either direct or indirect control through your nerve system. The problem with this is, let's say there's some kind of disruption or interference in the nerve system that isn't allowing the messages to get through to the brain, or vice versa to the leg. You either won't perceive that there's an itch, or you will perceive it but won't be able to do anything about it. An example of this is one of my patients. He had an injury many years ago that affected his spinal cord. He now is in a wheelchair and has no motor function of his legs and lower body. He can't feel anything. This is an extreme case, but I'm sure that you get the picture. What most people don't understand is this happens to a lesser degree with most of us, but because we have no symptoms or pain, we don't know it. But I want you to understand this very important point. Interference in your nerve system will directly interfere with the function of the cells on the end of that nerve, which affects the cell's ability to adapt. This is why one of my patients recently came to see me, because he had the problem with his hands going numb. His wife was just a little concerned. She thought he was going to kill himself because sometimes the numbness in his hands would get so bad. Well, when we did his exam, we found severe interference in his nerve system at the lower part of his neck. These nerves carry the messages from the brain down the arms and to the fingers. Now, fortunately for him, we found this problem and were able to help him reduce that interference so that he no longer has numbness and he can continue to safely race motorcycles. The problem is that he has permanent scar tissue in his nerve system now. In other words, his nerve system will always be hypersensitive. It won't take much to create a return of the symptoms, which in his case were numbness down his arms. So, does it make sense? It would have been better for him to catch the problem, which is the nerve interference, before the symptom and permanent scar tissue ever showed up? The question then is, how do you catch the problem before it starts interfering with your life, before the adaptability of the cells starts going haywire? In our office, we utilize something called thermography and surface EMG. It is advanced technology that scans your nerve system and tells us how well your nerve system is carrying those life messages to your cells so that they can adapt to those stressors that we talked about earlier. Do you remember what happens if your cells are adapting well? That's right. You're the one that doesn't get sick and diseased. Now, on the other hand, if your cells stop adapting, you will have problems. Let me show you an example. This is one of the scans I've been talking about. This was done on a lady that was 46 years old. Her reason for seeing us was because she had neck pain. But after talking about her health history, we also found out that she had a history of headaches. She also had sinus problems, asthma, and some digestion problems as well. She also had a history of bladder infections. Now, if you look at this slide here, it shows us some simple anatomy. It shows us that the nerves leaving her spine that go to her problem areas have interference. Now, the upper part of her neck here, which was what she thought was her biggest problem, shows that the nerve interference was affecting her headaches and sinus problems. The lower neck and upper back interference was contributing to her neck pain and asthma, and her lower back was affecting the nerves, contributing to her digestion and bladder issues. The great news for her is that we started adjusting her, and all of her symptoms started to go away. It didn't happen overnight, but progressively over time she got well because, as you can see, there was less interference in her nerve system. Now she's still getting adjusted, and over time much of the interference you see here will disappear as she continues to get adjusted and create the positive things we were talking about earlier in relation to that funnel. By the way, she is no longer taking any medication for anything. It's very exciting to see people that have been on the merry-go-round of health care come into our office, and we find for the first time in their lives the cause of their problems and help them get well. The technology that we use in our office allows us to find problem areas in the nerve system before the person gets symptoms. So, if you're like most people, you're wondering how well your cells are adapting. You're probably curious to see if there's interference in your nerve system that could be the cause of your health problems or causing future health problems. In fact, if you're still watching this video, you're probably like most people and want to have a scan performed on you. You may also be wondering if you can afford it. Let me share this with you. You would expect to pay over $100 just to have the scan performed. We also do other things in our office that checks how well your nerve system is working. Typically the whole exam is $250, and it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to do the whole exam, including the thermography or surface EMG scan. Now this month, you can have the thermography or surface EMG scan done absolutely free. You will get a whole lot of information about how well your cells are adapting, and it won't cost you a dime. Now, if at the same time you'd like to have the whole exam performed, we can do everything else for just $47. That will include the x-rays if they are indicated. $250 exam just for $47. That's right, you'll be able to have the thermography, the surface EMG for free, or you can upgrade and get the whole exam, including the x-rays, if they're indicated, for just $47. So, all you need to do is click the button on the website that says Help Me. You will need to just fill out the easy form with your name, your phone number, and email address, and we'll be getting back with you as soon as possible to set up a time to meet with you. Now, if it's during business hours, you can also call our office direct at 505-507-WELL. That's 505-507-9355. Now, please understand that if you call during office hours and you get our voicemail, that just means that we're busy serving our patients. Now, we devote a lot of attention to the patients that are in our office. So, if you get the voicemail, just leave a message and we will return your call just as soon as we can.
Our hope is that you can enjoy your life to the fullest. Investing in your health and your ability to stay healthy for all the years ahead of you is one of the most important things you can do. Remember the Swiss watch Brad talked about? You don't want to have the gears taken out as they stop working. You want to keep them all communicating and smoothly working together. That will help keep you on the upper edges of that funnel we talked about earlier, so that you can feel the breeze and see the beautiful sunshine and experience all the blessings that God has in store for you, not just now, but well into your golden years. By the way, I told you at the beginning that we were going to give you some practical information that you can start applying to your life right away, even before you come into our office. We had so much information to give you in this video that we had to create a whole nother video that just discusses these healthy lifestyle habits that you can implement right away. In fact, we're adding to this list regularly. So just click on the link on this page that says Help Me, and you will be redirected to another page that will give you all of this practical information on what you can change right now. So click the button that says Help Me. We look forward to meeting you.